Hello guys, welcome to SC Guide. So this video is about the 0x0 formal function nested loop. So they're just giving you more task on the function nested loops just for you to understand clearly. So they added more. So this one is just going to be about function nested loops, but just additional ones. So that's what it's going to be about. And I want to address something. Some of you keep complaining that your code doesn't work on your checker. So maybe the code isn't right. I just want to tell you that I'm also doing this because so I want put answers that are not correct that I haven't checked by myself for you to do. So I usually check mine before uploading it. If it isn't correct, I won't upload wrong codes for you. So it is correct. It's probably from your part. Maybe you didn't see the code clearly because of a video quality. You should just endeavor to increase your video quality on YouTube. It's obviously going to cost more data, but it's worth it. Maybe you aren't seeing some things clearly from your screen. So the codes are working obviously, so it's probably from you, or maybe you missed some parts in it. So let's get to it. So I'm going to make the directory. So let's first seed into our repository. Then I'm going to make the directory for the task. It's more function nested loops. So we can get on with our task. So first for the task, we're going to create our header file where we input all the prototypes, just like the function nested loop. Then you can input all the prototypes. So you just go to your questions, you look for the prototype. For each task there's a prototype, most likely. So you just copy it and put it there, because this is where everything is going to be executed. It's the header file, the main. So you just copy it and paste it here. So this is the prototypes for the compulsory ones. So you can come back and add for the additional ones if you want to do that. So and I'll create my readme file. Remember to always create your readme file. And I'll save. Now then I'll make my output char. What's going to print? We are going to have to go back to our main and then pick the put char prototype, because this one is actually even more important than the rest of the prototype. So this is it. So I'm just going to go back to the main. And our prototype. So let me just leave space here. It doesn't matter though. So you can save now and you can get on with our task. This is everything you're meant to do. I hope you did everything correctly, because any mistake here means your code will not be correct. You have to put a readme file, make your put char, because that's what's printing. Without it, it's like the put char doesn't even exist. So that put char, you have to make the put char file and your header file containing everything, so you can move on to your task if this has been successfully done. Task 0. Write a function that checks for uppercase character. So returns 1 if C is uppercase, returns 0 is otherwise. So we did something similar to this in the function nested loop. So they're just trying to make you understand fully. So it's just almost the same thing as the function nested loops. So we asked to check if a character is uppercase. So if our character is from A to Z, that's what this means. So greater than or equals to, so it starts from A, then less than or equals to Z, and it's in uppercase. So it checks if it's a linear from A to Z in uppercase, then it's going to return 1. Then else. So if it's not from A to Z, so you are going to tell it that it should return 0. So this is it. So we can save. So it's correct, no error from Betty. Again, because there's no error from Betty doesn't mean there will not be error in your checker. It's still different thing. Betty is just most checking for your coding style. There's a coding style. You could actually code on just a normal compiler and it will work without this Betty style. But Betty style just checks for some certain things, just makes it perfect. It's just looking for the perfect code. So that doesn't mean it's correct. It's just the style that Betty is mostly checking for. And maybe if you missed some things like some spacing or also maybe some characters, Betty could also check you, but Betty isn't your checker. So some people keep telling me that it was correct on Betty. That doesn't mean to be correct on your checker. Just make sure you follow everything I did correctly and you should be up to standard. So we should move on to the next one. Remember to push your code before you move to the next one. Number one, write a function that checks for a digit 0 through 9. So 1 if it is a digit and 0 otherwise. So it's just like the previous one, but this one is for digits instead of alphabet. The prototype. I'm going to say int y equals 0. So this is what we're asked to return, 0 or 1. So int y, our int y is normally 0, then our if statement. So this is another method to use it. But if our c is from any value from 0 to 9, if it is anything, int y will be equals to 0, anything else apart from 0 to 9. But if it's anything within 0 and 9, then our y should equals 1. So this is another way to do it. So you can see there are multiple ways to arrive at the same answer, and your checker knows that. So as long as you arrive at the answer, it will be checked correctly. So our y equals 1 if this, so our return value is 1, and we are going to say return y. So this is what is returning, the value of y. And now I've already said y should equal 0 unless there are digits inside. So I'm going to close my, so you can see now this is it. So I done with number 1. Remember to push your code before I move to the next one. Number 2, write a function that multiplies two integers. So we've done the one for addition a long time ago. So this one, just a function that multiplies two integers a and b. It can be any integer. So our first integer that is going to be multiplied, and the b, what is going to multiply to. So I'm just going to do it in a straightforward manner. I'm just going to say return a multiplied by b. So asterisk is used to multiply in programming, basically every type of programming language. So instead of us to use multiplication sign like this will give you an error. So asterisk times b, so you should return the multiplication of a and b, whatever the value may be. So this is it. and no errors. You can see mine, there are no errors. Just make sure to follow it clearly, and shouldn't have any error, because if you just do the same thing that I did, you should get everything you're supposed to get. Just pay attention. Remember to push your code. Number 3, write a function that prints the numbers from 0 to 9 followed by a new line. We can only use put char twice in our code. So it should print a, as long as the value start from 0 and less than 10, so that would be 9. So this plus 0 means, because normally you can't print with put char, you can't print digits, it's just for character. This is going to make it like 0001, and now it's going to be printable with put char. Or you could just use your ASCII code and just use 48. So 48 is for 0 and down to 57. So you could just say it should print a is equals to 48 and it's less than or equals to 57 or less than 58, so that way it's going to print. So if you understand, because you can print with picture integers. So, and you ask to add a new line. You see, they told us to use picture in our code, and that's what I just did. We just make sure that whatever you are doing, you're following the instructions. So no errors from Betty. Number 4, write a function that prints the numbers from 0 to 9 followed by a new line. So just like the previous one, but we have to not print 2 and 4. That's the difference. So again, our int a. So you could use anything as your int. So I'm going to print from 8 to 10, but we're going to say you should remove 2 and 4. So if a is not equals to 2 and 4, so this exclamation equals means not equal to. Then to print. Then our new line. New arrows from Betty, so you can push your code. I move to the next one. Number 5. Write a function that prints 10 times the numbers from 0 to 14, followed by a new line. So int num. So that's the 0 to 14 that we're asked to print. Then also you have to make for a the number of lines. We're asked to print 10 lines. So this is the number of lines from 0 to 9. So that's also 1 to 10. So it will be 10 lines. Number 6. Write a function that draws a straight line in the terminal. You can only use the putchar function to print, where n is the number of times the character underscore should be printed. So we have to use underscore to print line. So the amount of times we want to print it is n. Number 7. Write a function that draws the diagonal line on the terminal, which is output jar, where n is the number of times the character diagonal should be printed.
And remember, if n is less than or equals to 0, you can't print diagonal. It has to be something for it to be able to print a diagonal. So if you just print a new line,
So no errors.
by it, write a function that prints a square followed by a new line where size is the size of the square. If size is 0 or less, you should just print a new line. I will have to use our hashtag character to print squares. So if the size is less than or equals to 0, it should just print a new line. It's then the question. That's what they told us to do. Else. So we're going to make a value for our width and height. Let's just call it length and breadth. So we're asked to print a square. So I have to make the length and the height. So I'm just going to call the length I and breadth J. So I create making a value for the I. So that's the amount of hashtag from 0 to the size. The size given is going to be the amount of hashtag for the length and also for the breadth. So this is for the breadth. So it prints hashtag followed by new line. So this is it. So no errors. Number 9, the Fizzbuzz test is an interview question designed to help filter out 99% of programming job can't seem to program their way out of it. Write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100 followed by a new line. But for multiples of 3, print fizz instead of the number, and for the multiples of 5, print buzz. For the numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print fizz buzz. Each number or word should be separated by a space, and you're allowed to use the standard library. So do you use modulus to know if something is a value of 3 or is a value of 5? If you use modulus and the result is 0, that means it's divisible by it. So that's when you know if it's a multiple. So we'll print fizz for 3 and buzz for 5. And if the number is not a multiple of 3 or 5, it should print the number. So just the last composition one remaining. Number 10, write a function that prints a triangle followed by a new line. We should use our output char to function to print. Size is the size of the triangle, new line. If the size is 0 or less, and we should use hashtag to print our triangle. So this is how it should be. Scenarios from Betsy, so you can push your code. So this is all for the mandatory task. Make sure to click the subscribe button